This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's Worst 250 so you don't have to.
My name is Abigail Ward.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
And tonight, we're watching The Wicker Man. A sheriff investigating the disappearance of a young girl from a small island discovers there's a larger mystery to solve among the island's secretive neo-pagan community. Let's watch.
Chewing this is not as fast as I thought it was going to be. When I think about it, taking a big bite of something right before recording was not a good idea.
I like how you've got a flower crown pitched on top of your headphones on your head.
Yeah, I wanted to get into the mood.
Yeah.
You know, the flower crown feels very midsummer, very neo-pagan, you know? Neo-pagan.
What were you about to say?
Neo-pagan. We're not doing this bit. Stop looking. You can't do visual bits in our audio podcast.
Michelle.
Hey, it's me, Michelle. Yeah, I'm like a Mario. I'm not like an Italian, I'm like a Mario. I'm a homo Nintendus. A homo. Oh, I'm both a homosexual and
Hello?
a homo Nintendus.
The police, please.
What, you afraid of a gay?
I have a tip-off to give.
You afraid of a gay? Oh, police with a weird.
Polizio.
Polizia, what are you doing here? You cannot arrest me just for being gay. What is this, huh? It's like I'm being home in Italy. I mean, I'm not Italian. I'm another species. Maybe that's why.
Well, according to the movie, you're like a lizard, right?
But Mario wasn't a lizard in the movie.
Yeah, but he's from a lizard world.
No, he's not. He goes to the lizard
Michelle,
world.
I don't get Mario references. We've established this like 2 episodes
You
ago.
watched the movie.
No.
You
Not
watched the
really.
movie. He didn't. Abby, they went to the lizard world. Bowser was from the lizard world.
Yeah.
He's just from regular New York.
Yeah.
He's from Brooklyn. Hey, I'm Mario. It's me, Bob Hoskins. I sound like this all the time. Hey, I'm Leguizamo. I'm Luigi. Come on, man.
No, as I've mentioned, I don't understand the Mario universe, so just too cool for school.
Yeah, you're so cool because you don't care. Man, it's really awesome how little you care about things. And you know what? When you are dying, when you're on your deathbed, and people aren't there around you because you didn't care about them and thus they didn't care about you, I hope you are satisfied with just how little you care.
Well, you'll never live to see it.
What?
You'll never live to see me die.
Why not?
I'll make sure you go first.
Oh my god.
I want to see you on your deathbed.
You're going to be standing over my grave and going like, where did caring get you now?
Yeah. I'll strangle you to death.
Oh my god.
I've been watching a lot of Marples. There's a lot of strangulation and a lot of poison. There's a lot of poisoning.
Right. You're just in the mood for murder.
Fuck, I love Marples.
Yeah?
They are like my ultimate comfort watch, is like a good Miss Marple mystery.
Yeah.
Love a Poirot as well, but Miss Marple is a lot more English villagey, which I love.
Yeah.
Whereas Poirot is more like exotic on the Nile and in Paris. And,
Hello, I am Poirot.
Monsieur.
I am Belgian.
I have a mustache.
Mustache.
And I toilet so.
Not French. I'm from Belgium. Where in Belgium is he from? Is he from Wallonia? Because then he's French.
I actually don't know where he's from in Belgium.
Oh, well.
But I mean, he does speak
I thought you
French.
cared about. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, half of Belgium is just a bit of France that got chopped off, and the other half of it is Flanders.
Yeah. He's the French bit.
He's the French bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, I love it though.
For real. For true.
I just love that in every single Marple, there's always this young woman in red lipstick with a cigarette. And she's like, well, I hardly know, you see. Well, Daddy ran off at about 3 o'clock and I went down to lunch. But, well, the maid... Well, we don't need to go into the maid, but, well, we all know where she came from. You know, like something snooty and horrible.
Is that the Miss Marple equivalent of the, like, Law and Order guy moving boxes from one spot to another going like, hey, you know, I never seen the guy before. Right? He always shows up to work.
Around here.
He clocks in, he clocks out, all right?
Always. And then there's always the B-plot, like, mystery of like, well, this person turned out to be robbing jewels, but they're not the killer. And then there's the C-plot mystery where it's like, you're actually the daughter of him, aren't you, Claire? Like, it's always this.
She solves a lot more mysteries than just murders.
Yeah.
She's like a Scooby Gang unto herself.
Fully. And she also manages to knit a full scarf while she's figuring it out. She's very multi-talented.
Well, like zoinks, I'm so surprised.
Well, like zoinks, Inspector. There's always as well, guaranteed in a Marple, there's always the inspector that will say, well, I'll let Miss Marple take the floor. And she goes, thank you, Superintendent, or thank you, Inspector. That happens every single time.
I cannot believe, because she's not a, like, look, I mean, fuck the police, but also, like, she's not a cop. She's just a woman, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy that they're like, all right, well, you solved it, so you get to tell everyone what's going on.
I know. They're always very accommodating. But at the beginning, they're like, oh, you fussy old woman. Oh, you're so annoying. And then by the end, they're like, I deeply respect you, Miss Marple. You've taught me so much.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, unlike the cops, she's not doing it for authority. She's doing it to help.
Yeah.
She is helpful.
That's the thing. A cab, but not a cam.
Yeah.
We love Miss Marple.
Well, I mean,
wait,
all
Marples.
cops are Marples? Abigail,
I'm not on top of my game today, am I? AMAB.
Oh, the true AMAB is all
AMAB.
Marples are bastards?
Yeah.
But that's not true.
It's actually assigned Marple at birth.
There we go.
Yeah.
We've really lost I have no idea what you're trying to tell me.
Well, why don't we just, on the note of having no idea, let's launch into it this week, eh?
Yeah. Wicker Man. Wicker Man. It won't get fooled again. Wicker Man. Wicker Man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to squeal. Getting too many marples.
Too many more.
Well, I heard a sort of squeal, you see, at about 2 a.m., but, well, I was in bed.
But clearly Wicker Man has mushed our brains.
Bed. I know. Let's get into it. Wicker Man. So, we've established this is Claude. The original was Claude's favorite film. Mm-hmm. I saw it.
I haven't seen it. I didn't see it.
Well, let me just run you through just the original so you have an understanding.
So that I can understand when you give the overview to the audience, just the contrast that's going on.
Yeah, and look, there's a similar atmosphere, but it is about this detective that comes to an island called Summer's Isle.
Yeah.
And then there's also a guy called Summer's Isle, which is strange.
Well, because, I mean, she's meant to be the embodiment of the god. Like, it makes sense. I get it.
But in the original one, he comes to the island looking for, I think, a kid that's gone missing. And then basically he observes strange happenings throughout the town. And there's a lot of, naked women dancing. And then, neo-pagan rituals, obviously.
Sure.
Britt Eklund has a weird nude dance scene, which was bizarre. And then at the end, during the festival, they capture him and set him on fire in the Wicker Man. It's actually, there's a fair bit of overlap with this.
It's crazy how much, it's year of our Lord 2023. I can't remember when this came out, but still, post-2000, right?
This one?
Yeah.
This is 2006.
2006. Man, another 2006.
Oh, I'm going to go into that.
Okay, yeah, sure. But it's 2006. We're still so, beholden to originally Roman propaganda about the Celts. We're still the Celts, those evil, sacrificing barbarians, spooky pagan peoples.
Fully. But the original film is a cult classic. It's got Christopher Lee. It's fine. It's good. I didn't like it that much, but I get why people like it for the atmosphere, and clearly it inspired Midsummer.
Yeah, but what I want to know, what I've been desperate to know. Bees? Any bees?
No bees.
Right.
Which is why, and I also want to state, I apologize, because at the end of last episode, you mentioned Nic Cage and the bees, and I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't realize the bee meme of Nic Cage was from The Wicker Man, and I didn't piece together that you were referencing the meme in the first place, so that was all on me. I apologize.
Bees!
You made a perfectly sound reference that I didn't get. And there's also the infamous meme of the doll being like, who burnt it?
Yes.
Who burnt the doll?
How did it get burned?
How did it get burned? Yeah. Those are
so
two
good.
famous memes from this film, but I had no idea they were from this film. Anyway, we come to this film, right?
Midsummer but bees.
What did you think of this film? Just general ideas, general
Midsummer
feelings.
but bees.
Midsummer but bees. Look, I fucking loved it because it was
fucking
bananas.
loved it.
It was bananas.
This is one of those weeks where I remember why we started the podcast, why we like bad movies.
Fully.
My only qualm is it's a little boring in the second act.
It is.
Apart from that, which is I think a large contributor to why it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I actually think a lot of it works.
It was fun as well. I was like,
good.
it was so silly, and because Nic Cage is such a fun actor, I would watch it again in a heartbeat.
That's the thing. I know this is meant to be part of the bundle of why Nic Cage is secretly a bad actor or whatever, but also given the last few years, there's been a Cage Assance, you know, he's been in a bunch of good things. He also keeps making statements. He's like Tom Cruise in that the guy just loves movies. And he's talked about like the reason he takes on roles like that is because it lets him push at the boundaries of cinema. That's great. We need guys like that. And in this, he's doing a good performance. It's just everyone else is acting like they're in a movie.
Yeah.
And he's acting like a guy.
Yeah, kind of.
Everyone else has been like, oh, yes, mister, we're here in this spooky movie. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Let me do something. And he feels subsequently incongruous from everyone else. In a way that I think works.
Well, it's just because like he comes in and he's like, I'm not taking your bullshit. I'm not believing anything you're saying. Can you just like calm the fuck down and tell me the truth? Which is great. He was a joy to watch the whole time. Every single scene.
And I get it because his one ally is just being so weirdly obtuse and confusing, which is like the how did it get burned? I'm like, I get it because he's like, why can't you answer me this fucking question about how our daughter got burned? Come on.
Yeah, look, I'm going to launch into the key details because
please.
It's such a great film and we need to talk about it. First of all, this film was made in 2006, as we said. Big year for bad movies. 3.7 stars on IMDb when we locked the list, but now I think it's back up at 3.8.
Let's get that higher.
It was written and directed by Neil LaBute.
Okay.
He's done a bunch of shit, but nothing really remarkable. But he's quite well known. He actually also did a couple of episodes of Billions. He's done a lot of TV directing
with
as well.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah. The budget of this film was $40 million.
Wow.
Guess how much it made?
38. Pretty close.
Yeah. And it's still really sad.
Yeah.
In terms of the cast, we've got a great cast in some respects. We've got Nicolas Cage as Edward Malice, the police officer. We've got Ellen Bernstein, absolute legend, as Sister Summers Zile. Well, really, she's Summer. Yeah, she's Summers Zile. In the original film, it's Summer Isle. But for some reason, they thought that people wouldn't be able to pronounce it. So they said Summer's Isle. And it's confusing me, to be honest.
It is a weird choice to just add an S for no reason.
Fully. And then we've got Kate Behan as... Behan.
Bees?
It literally comes... Someone mentioned that Behan is an Irish name for like a beekeeper.
Oh.
Which is crazy. It's a weird coincidence. She plays Sister Willow. She's Edward's ex-fiance.
Yeah.
We've got Lily Sobieski coming back as Sister Honey. We've got Frances Conroy, who I fucking love, as Dr. T.H. Moss.
Yeah.
I love Frances Conroy. She's in like 6 Feet Under. She's in American Horror Story as well, which isn't as good, but we've also got Molly Parker, Alma from Deadwood, as Sister Rose.
It was driving me insane at first. I was like, but I why can I recognize her by going like, Mr. And I'm like, oh, it's Deadwood.
Yeah. And then we've got Diane Delano as Sister Beach. I wanted to note as well, so the film garnered 5 Golden Raspberry Award nominations, but didn't win any. But I love what it did lose to because they're all films we've seen. Most of them are. I mean, we've got Worst Picture they were nominated for, but they lost to Basic Instinct 2.
Deserved.
Worst Actor for Cage, but he lost to Marlon and Shawn Wayans for Little Man. Worst Screenplay, but he lost to Leora Barish and Henry Bean for Basic Instinct 2.
Oh my god.
Worst Remake or Ripoff, lost to Little Man. Worst On-Screen Couple, lost to Little Man. And then at the 2006 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, the film garnered 2 nominations. One of the nominations was for Worst Actor for Cage, but they lost to Tim Allen for The Santa Claus 3, Shaggy Dog, and Zoom.
Oh my god! All of which we've covered.
Yeah. The only thing it did win was at this 2006 Stinkers Awards, it did win for Worst Remake.
Wow.
So here's the overview. Policeman! No, okay. Sorry.
Oh, police!
I let something overtake me there. Policeman Edward Malice. I just couldn't resist. You know?
It's Cage. He's coming out.
Policeman Edward Malice gets news from his ex-fiancée, Willow Woodward, that her daughter Rowan is missing. He travels to an island off the coast of Washington where a group of neo-pagans live. Edward asks the villagers about Rowan, but they give him evasive answers, and he fears she is either dead or will be killed. Willow reveals that Rowan is actually his biological daughter, and Edward is frustrated by everybody's lies. That's covering... Basically, now I'm
An
up
hour.
to 80% of the film, because now what we've got left is just that end bit.
Yeah.
Nothing really does happen. It's a lot of him poking around.
It's
the
a mood,
village.
but I think in the way that, like, in an old school Italian giallo film, like, but with a crystal plumage or deep red, you know, like a lot of it is just like the investigation, the creeping
Which,
around.
hey, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
On the day of the secretive fertility rite, Edward disguises himself in a bear suit and joins the parade.
Oh, because bears love bees.
Rowan is tied to a large tree, about to be burned. He rescues her, they run away, but she leads him back to the cult. Edward realizes the whole thing has been a setup. He is shut inside the Wicker Man and is sacrificed in a giant blaze. The end. And then there's that little scene where, like, Willow and Honey are at a bar and they lure in James Franco and Jason Ritter, which is
that was
bizarre.
the true jump scare.
That
seeing
was
James
Whoa. Where do you come from? So that's the plot.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it still has the whole thing of a policeman comes to an island, investigates, blah blah blah. So that didn't deviate too much, but it did. Look, it's infamous because
we got to address the bees.
we got to talk about the bees. we got to talk about.
We
the
got to
bees.
talk about the bees.
There's the infamous scene where they hold him down and they put a big helmet on his head and funnel bees into it.
Yeah.
And he starts screaming, "Ah, the bees! Not the bees! They're in my eyes!" Ah! It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre.
It's really strange and it kind of feels pointless.
Yeah. And I think Nic Cage's whole performance in this was so... Well, I don't think anyone really gave a very good performance in this. Even Ellen Bernstein, I was like, whatever.
I thought she was fine.
She's fine. Wasn't
And
great.
I stand by. I actually think Nic Cage was doing a good performance in this.
Do you?
He's doing a very specific performance, but I think it works I think it works. I actually do. He's doing just a guy, you know?
You know who I thought was particularly bad? The woman that played Willow,
Yeah.
the woman that played Honey, Lily Sobieski, and Molly Parker as Sister Rose. I thought she was really bad as Sister Rose.
I thought Molly Parker, the problem felt more like the direction. Like, the direction she's given is so confusing because she plays, like... Willow is given the note in every scene to play it as if she's about to burst into tears. And Molly Parker, in every scene she's in, is given the note to play it like you're really confident that you have a secret and you're getting away with it in this moment. And honestly, sometimes it feels like the note she's given is that secret is that you have a vibrator right now. Like, she's just kind of going like, And no one else is playing it like that. And when they do, it feels more sinister. But when she does it, it doesn't feel sinister. It feels frustrating.
Fully. Because she's the teacher, and there's this scene where Nic Cage confronts her in a classroom, and she's just giving all these like really snarky responses back, like most characters. But there was something in her delivery that I found completely grating. It was like, "Yes, Inspector. Well, as a policeman, you should know that already." Like it was.
If I was
really
Summer's
one note.
Isle, I'd be like laying it on a bit thick, man.
Yeah,
Come on,
fully.
chill out.
Fully.
Well, but she's also a twin.
Yes, because she's also got Sister Thorne. Who is the twin of
doesn't
her.
really do anything.
No, it's mostly Sister Rose we see.
She's
It's very
just sort of
confusing.
there at one point, and then he's confused because there is a twin.
The thing is, it does have potential. I mean, the Wicker Man is a fun premise, and also like I liked the atmosphere of the island, and it is strange that it all came down to the fact that they wanted a better harvest for their bees.
Yeah.
And then he said, like, what does he scream? He's like, "You're not gonna get more honey."
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that bit I liked again because he's screaming. He's like, "You're killing me for no reason. It's not gonna make more honey. It's not gonna lead to more honey." And I'm like, yeah. If I was him, I'd be like, "This is not going to help.
Yeah.
You're doing it for your honey. That's insane.
Yeah.
Don't kill me for your honey." For your honey.
For your honey.
Because there's the earlier bit where he's confused, like, because they make honey, you know, that's how he knows about it and stuff. And then it's just the classic American, like, bare plastic bottle. And then he's like, well, what, don't you make this stuff? Where is it? And then they're like, oh, there was a terrible harvest last year. And then he's like, okay. I like that because that's how I would react. I wouldn't just like look pensively. I would be like, okay.
Yeah.
Why are you saying it like that?
I find Nic Cage's performance confusing, but we'll also talk about it in the trivia.
Sure.
So what I'd like to talk about right now.
Uh-huh.
beginning of the film, he's a cop.
Yeah.
And he pulls over this mother and daughter, and then a trailer slams into the car and kills them. And he's haunted by it.
Which I do think, even though we find out it's part of the whole plot, which also doesn't make any fucking sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
Wait, how is it part of the plot in the end?
The girl is Rowan.
Okay.
The girl is Rowan.
Is it?
Yeah, that's why he keeps thinking of her, is that it is Rowan. And then we also, the mum, we see her take her mask off at the end.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he keeps having dreams about it, and in the dreams, she turns into bees, because she's bees.
It's very confusing.
But she, like, throws her doll out of the window, and that's how it gets his attention, but then he gives it back, and she just throws it out again, and that's a pretty good bit. It's a pretty good bit. If I was there, I would laugh. That's pretty funny.
But the dream sequences about them throughout the film are so horrible, so poorly done.
It's just a bunch of characters turning into bees.
Yes, every time. Bees aren't that scary.
No, but I guess a lot of like the drone of bees is kind of scary. That's scary. That's spooky.
Spooky ooky.
Spooky ooky bee drone. Buzz, 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 you know?
So scary.
Well, yeah, bees aren't spooky, but when a beekeeper outfit is kind of spooky. The like circle mask thing.
A little bit.
With the hood. And then at one point he kills a bee. And then everyone is like, well, he's like,
how would you do that?
How would you do such a thing?
He's like, I'm allergic.
Which I think is really funny. It's
and
so
most
funny.
people are allergic to bees.
Well, no, but you can be extra allergic to bees.
Oh, yeah, you can. My cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's very funny to go like, let's do the Wicker Man, but there's just a ton of bees. And they're like, okay. And then like, but the twist, the main guy is allergic to bees.
Yeah, just to add stakes to the situation.
It's like the Batman origin of like, oh, he got flooded with bats. Like we're learning the origin of Bee Man.
And everyone's like, that's brilliant.
It's so good.
In the original Wicker Man, the actual Wicker Man himself is so scary. And it's still scary in the film. Like I love the look of the wooden Wicker Man. It is terrifying. Although I will say, that's a lot of work to put into something that you're about to burn anyway. You know? That's a lot of logs to tie
That's the point of an effigy.
Yeah, I know.
It represents something.
Yeah, but it's just so much work. You're just going to burn it.
Yeah,
what if they made it a lot
of work.
smaller?
Why would they make it smaller?
So that it's less work.
Why are you concerned about the amount of work they're doing for it?
I just feel like they've got enough on. Like, you know,
they really
setting
don't.
up
They're
police
just making
officers
bees.
and teaching children.
Yeah, that's in an incredibly elaborate plot. Incredibly over-elaborate. They also have cornered him a lot of times. I don't know why they need to bring him to that field. Do they just not want to bother carrying him over? Or they were too tired from building the effigy?
I don't know, man. But I loved this film. Really, I loved it. I was all about it. Were there any other standout moments for you?
It's the way. I mean, the ways that everyone else reacts. Like, there's a point where he's saying to Honey, like, "Do you recognize this girl?" And she's just like, and he just looks at her so confused. And then later, he like opens up and he goes to the school and he sees Molly Parker, and then there's like one missing. There's one table where no one's there, but it's those like old school tables that open, and he opens it and there's a crow and he just goes, "What?"
Crow.
And it's great. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
He's reacting like he's in an insane movie.
I do feel like they probably, when they were watching the original, they were like, well, when we're doing this remake, let's just make him feel more like a person. Because in the original, the guy is just kind of like, what does this mean? This is all so strange. Yeah. I love the note of like, he should react.
One of my favorite bits, though, I mean, I had a couple favorite bits, but one of my favorite bits was when he goes down to the dock so that he can go to the seaplane so he can get the radio. And then he's like sitting waiting, and he doesn't realize, we don't realize either, that he's fallen asleep, and he thinks he's seen Rowan under the dock, which would also mean she's dead. There's like 3 different times that he thinks she's underwater, and it's like, she's been missing for ages. She's definitely dead. There's no urgency.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes, he finds her, but then he wakes up.
And he's still on the dock.
And then comedy like fucking snap zooms out to him holding it, and he's like, whoa! And then he wakes up again and goes, oh, Jesus. it's so fun. Like, that's a comedy beat. That's gotta be a comedy beat intentionally,
That's
right?
the thing about this film, and I will get into it, the trivia, but it is... A lot of it was also intended to be a comedy.
I think it works then.
Yeah.
You know what? That's what it is. This movie, I think you need to be a real intellectual.
That's right.
To appreciate
That's
it.
right. You need an IQ of at least 200.
Yes, and as someone with an IQ of 255, I really understood The Wicker Man, you know? I did also really think it was funny, though, the way towards the end where he's like, he gets sick of it. He's like fucking over it, and it's the day of the festival. And so he's just like storming into every place and like ripping off people's masks. And, you know, like he opens a cupboard and a girl falls out, but then she's actually alive and they all start laughing at him, which made me laugh a lot. He's just like going nuts. And he goes to Summer Isle's house. And he's like banging on doors and stuff. And he opens one door and there's just like a man covered in bee stings. Ugh, that's kind of spooky. Then he opens another door and it's just a completely empty room except for a woman in a chair. She's completely nude, but she's covered in bees.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, and he's like so spooked out by it. If I did that, I don't care how spooky it is. I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am. Like,
yeah, fully.
I'm so sorry.
100%. You're like, I'm so sorry to intrude on your privacy.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're clearly doing something. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm looking for my daughter.
Fully.
What the fuck are you doing? Because you're not even doing it. You're just sitting in this room covered in bees by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved that bit.
Oh, there's a lot of standouts with this film. I adored it in a weird sense.
But then there is also bits that don't work and make any sense. Like right at the end, when she's leading him to the effigy, there's like the shot of he's still in the woods and he's like, they're going over the hill. The shot holds until they completely run out of the shot. And that's not like they're going left to right. They're going like back right. So it takes like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I'm like, why do we need to see the entirety of this fucking shot? It's one of the most agonizingly slow moments because it's like right at the fucking climax and he gets out of the bear coat. He's like, all right, let's run this way.
I still have to wonder if it's about
God.
the fact that some of it was meant to be a comedy, in a sense.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, I've got lots of trivia. Should we get into it? Because I kind of want to talk to you about some of this.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Just kind of.
Getting
not
early
really.
into the trivia.
I know. Robin Hardy, director and co-writer of the original film, and Christopher Lee, who played Summer Isle in the original film, were both critical of the remake. Hardy had his name removed from the film's credits as he did not wish to be associated with it. Christopher Lee commented, I don't believe in remakes. You can make a follow-up to a film, but to remake a movie with such history and success just doesn't make sense to me. And it's true.
I do get him there. And also, if this was 2006, this is before every movie was just a remake. So it would be like particularly grating. So
this is what Nicolas Cage said about it. He said he objected to the criticism that the film was unintentionally funny, saying that he and Neil LaBute knowingly made the picture an absurdist black comedy and that it should have been seen and judged as such. But it's not clear because I think that he's giving a comedic performance, but the rest of them are playing it completely seriously.
But that's where I think it worked for the absurdism. Like the first scene is kind of funny, you know? And for me, I clicked into that, you know? It feels almost like instead of being like, why was it so funny? I feel like validated in finding it funny instead of just like, oh, they're just saying it, you know? Like I feel like I got what they were doing with like it being absurd. He is being funny. Yeah. They're being spooky.
Well, that's the thing. Neil LaBute is not necessarily a bad director. He's just not also known for a lot of really good stuff, but he's still working. And I think, a lot of it was meant to be intentional. But then I think but I get why audiences are confused. It's like you pick up on the comedy, but then you're also not sure that you should have. It doesn't make it clear. And that's like the weird ambiguity about this.
Yeah, I think the first act could have made it clearer, like one or two more solid jokes.
You need to set up it's potentially an absurdist black comedy, you know? You can't keep people wondering halfway through the film, am I still meant to be laughing?
Well, especially because I think by this point in cinematic history, like a lot of horrors do the sort of like playing with reality thing. So that doesn't scan as absurd necessarily unless you're going really absurd with it, which it takes a while to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. The film is dedicated to late musician Johnny Ramone.
Yeah, I did see that.
Who introduced Nicolas Cage to the original Wicker Man.
Aww.
That's quite sweet.
That is quite
Great
sweet.
taste in movies, you know? This is my favorite piece of trivia. Edward Malice punches out 3 women. There is that scene when he's in the bear suit where he's just punching women.
Well, even before that, to get in the bear suit, he just like approaches and she seems like she's going to do a big monologue and then he just fully knocks her out. Which is when he also starts fighting Honey. That was one of I wrote down because the way he does
the fight with Honey.
Throws her against the wall, like launches. He like jump kicks at her. It's incredible.
The whole last 20 minutes of it was like a standout, to be honest.
So good.
the last 20 minutes of this film was fucking for spectacular.
Absolutely.
Oh my god. Winona Ryder turned down the role of Willow in the film as she hated the script.
Oh,
But she would have been so good.
she would have been better.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, she's the weakest part of the movie because
Willow sucked.
you almost feel like it feels like in the conclusion they're trying to go like, oh, she does kind of feel bad for him. But
Yeah.
but then in the very end, she's doing it again
Yeah.
with James Franco. So like clearly she doesn't feel that bad. So then why is she doing that? Why is she so weepy-eyed the whole fucking time?
Truly don't know. The woman who played Willow is an Australian actress. And she was her father, Michael Behan, was an Australian Labor Party senator from WA.
Oh wow, that's fun.
Yeah, she was also in Chopper.
Oh, that's why she looks familiar.
Yeah, she plays Tanya in Chopper.
Yeah.
But I don't really... She was in Burning Man. She was in a couple of things. She was in Home and Away.
Yeah, of course she was.
Yeah. NCIS New Orleans. Hawaii 5-0. She's done a lot of like true crime stuff. Anyway, yeah, she's Australian. But yeah, she sucked, to be honest. I really thought she like stood out as one of the worst in the film.
Yeah, she looks like she'd been just rubbing her eyes vigorously for 5 minutes before every take.
Fully. Nicolas Cage mentioned several times that he is very proud with the film and his performance in it. This conflicts something I read later, where he said Cage himself acknowledged that the film was absurd. He remarked in 2010, "There is a mischievous mind at work on the Wicker Man, you know? You know what I mean?" And I was like, do you get me? Do you know what I mean? And I finally kind of said, I might have known that the movie was meant to be absurd, but saying that now after the fact is okay, but to say it before the fact is not, because you have to let the movie have its own life. In 2012, he gave a live web chat with his fans to promote Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. When asked what roles from his career he would most like to revisit, he said, I would like to hook up with one of the greatest Japanese filmmakers, the master that made Ringu, and I would like to take the Wicker Man to Japan, except this time he's a ghost. That's ballistic. That's insane.
This is what I love him. He's nuts.
He is nuts. What does he mean? He's a ghost. Who's a ghost? Is the Wicker Man a ghost?
No, him, the main guy. He's a ghost.
He didn't say that the main guy is a ghost.
But who else would he mean, you know?
I have no idea.
The Wicker Man. The effigy's a ghost.
Edward Woodward. That's a fucking mouthful of a name.
Well, that's why the best filmmaker's name on earth is Edward D. Wood.
I know.
Edward D. Wood.
I
Incredible.
was saying that because we were watching Barry Lyndon the other night.
Yeah.
And the main character is called Redmond Barry, which weirdly enough, Redmond Barry was an Australian judge as well.
Oh, wow.
But Redmond, I was like, fuck, Redmond's a good name. And I was like, we should name our son, if we ever had one, Redmond Ward. And then he'd be Red Ward. And I just think that's sick. That's a sick name. Anyway, Edward Woodward, star of the original The Wicker Man, who played the original policeman, has said that while he was offered a part in the remake and declined, he nevertheless was surprisingly impressed by the quality of the script. Nonetheless, the name of the young girl was changed from Rowan Morrison to Rowan Woodward for this film as a tribute.
Aw, I like that.
I love this little piece of information too. There is a missing sign in the police station with a photo of Edward Woodward's character from the original Wicker Man.
Ah.
Fun. During the ending, where Edward is burned inside the Wicker Man, Rowan actress Erica Shea Gear was very reluctant to carry the burning torch and act the scene of burning her father. According to the director's commentary, the filmmakers lied to her, telling her that Edward would find a way to escape in order to get her to do the scene.
Aww.
That's so cute.
That is kind of cute.
It's really sweet.
It's really sweet. It makes me think of all the things about like The Shining, of how they like didn't tell the actor who played the little kid like what was going on.
Yeah.
It's like you're just riding your little trike around. It's not spooky.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
There's actually a really wholesome photo I found of Nic Cage and that little girl together. Like he's got his arm around her and
That's
they look
sweet.
It's actually quite a cute photo.
One of my favorite ones of those is when Robert Rodriguez made Planet Terror. He cast his, at the time, like quite young son as one of the characters. And in the movie, the character accidentally gets shot. Just by like a gun misfiring.
Yeah.
He also did a version of it where he lives just for his son.
Fuck.
Which is really sweet.
Nice. Here's my last piece of trivia. Mm-hmm. Not screened for critics. some review?
Yes, please.
On the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
The film has an approval rating of 15%.
Ooh.
The website's consensus says, puzzlingly misguided, Neil LaBute's update of The Wicker Man struggles against unintentional comedy and fails. Here is a review left on IMDb by Remeldimu323 called What the Fuck, Mate? 2 out of 10 review.
Oh.
Warning, spoilers. I need you to note that there is no punctuation in this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So let me take
read
a
it
deep
as
breath.
such. Read it as such.
Seriously? That was the movie? Oh my God. In heaven, I have never been so pissed off or angry about seeing a movie before. It was just horrible. Mr. Cage, for shame, man. Seriously, your acting was so fucking bad that Corey Feldman shakes his head in disgust. That's right. I brought in the Feldman. And what was in the Feldman? And what was with the prominent, in my opinion, actors is shit. I mean, shit roles. Come on, Aaron Eckhart as Trucker Number One. Trucker Number One and Joe Blow, Cage's friend. That shit is disrespectful. Then James Franco and Jason Ritter playing respectively Guy in the Bar Number 1 and 2, Langry. Then the ending, I'm sorry, Nic Cage looked away. Maybe at most 150 is that fucking behemoth of a woman was at least 265. Easily, there is no way he really thought that one punch was going to knock her down, asshole, and keep her down. And then the bum twist ending. How in the hell does someone not see a 4-story high man made of sticks? Oh, and then the whole scene gets dark and you hear them hitting Nicolas Cage. Okay, then you hear that crunch and he yells, my legs, but doesn't even moan when they string him up and buy said legs to get him into the Wicker Man. By the way, it's made of sticks. Break them and get the shit. How dumb was this character? And that the audience yells at the screen and no one cares. 2 out of 10.
Wow, incredible review.
There's so much to unpack there, but in particular when he said Nic Cage looked away maybe at most 150, that fucking behemoth of a woman was at least 265. Are you okay, man? Here's another review left by Madam Network called Best Movie Ever, Women Ruled. 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah.
Awesome place for an alpha female to grow up. Strong women prevailed. There was tranquility. 10 out of 10.
Best review I've ever heard.
And here's another 10 out of 10 review left by Martin Ackberg called Nicholas Rage.
Nice.
Warning, spoilers. I enjoyed the part where he punched a bunch of people. 10 out of 10.
Warning, spoilers.
Warning, spoilers. Punching involved. But I mean, that was just Martin Ackberg's review. Michelle, what's your review?
Yeah, we're really zooming through this episode.
Oh, how long is it?
39 minutes?
Whatever. My throat's kind of fucking up.
Sure. Before I give a review, I do want to ask one question.
Yeah.
One particular question. So at the beginning, he first reaches the island, and they're all being really cagey. By which I mean they're all going, oh wow. But a bunch of them come up, and they have like a bag that is dripping something. They don't see like it close enough to know if it's dripping blood or whatever. But he's trying to be chill about it, because also like we assume like, is there a person or whatever? But he's just a guy, so he's like, what's in there, a shark?
Yeah.
And they give a weird laugh, and so we're like, okay, maybe it's a body, whatever. And then he's like, do you want to see what's in the bag? And it's this big spooky moment. He like comes close to the bag, and it seems like it's gonna be spooky. And then they like wave it at him, and then they laugh, and they're like, it's not the missing daughter, and they walk away. What was in the bag?
I don't know. We never get to know, right?
What was in the bag?
I was like, is it fish? Is it a shark?
Was it a guy? Like, what was in the bag?
No idea.
For the fuck? And also, if the whole elaborate plan was to intentionally bring him to the island, why did they kill the pilot? The problem with the pilot was that he brought Nic Cage to the island when he really shouldn't have, but he should have. That was part of their plan. So why did they kill the pilot? Don't they still need a pilot to get people to the island? How did they then get off the island? They broke the plane.
Raise this with Neil and Nick, you know? Neil and Nick.
Neil and Nick. Those two things aside, I had a great fucking time.
Me too.
I think this was a banger of a movie.
Fantastic.
Absolutely, we'll watch it again.
For sure.
It's now my goal to show this to as many people as I can.
Yeah.
This movie fucked, and it fucked hard.
It did.
Right?
And then it gave you some aftercare.
It gave me some good aftercare. I got some kisses. I got some cuddles.
Yeah.
And
Ordered
I was
an
like,
Uber
"Thank
Eats,
you."
watched a movie together.
Nic Cage and I watch a movie together, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And he's like,
Strong
we're
arms.
all having a great time. And I'm like, yeah, wow, me too.
I'm having a great time.
We're having a great time. And I'm like, yeah, well, me too. Me too, Nick. And then we slowly embraced, and, the night took where it
It went where it went.
went, where the rhythm takes
I know.
us.
You're
You
blushing.
know what I mean? Sorry.
Are you blushing right now?
Well, a girl doesn't kiss and tell.
And did he text you afterwards as well?
No, that was the thing. That's why it's
Oh.
not a 10. He did.
Has he ghosted you?
Well, he ghostwrite Spirit of Vengeance to me.
Oh my god.
I know.
Have you tried to Wicker Man him back?
That's my pitch.
Yeah.
Let's Wicker Man Nic Cage after he ghostwrited me. All right.
Yeah.
That being said, like I said, I clicked in fully to what this movie was doing so early. So I'm not sitting here like the contemporary audience going, oh, why is it so funny? What's it doing? What's with Nic Cage's performance? I get it. I understand it. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This is a 6.3.
What?
This is a 6.3.
Whoa.
This is above a 5. This is it's not 8.
Yeah.
It's not 7.
Yeah.
It's good. It's pretty slow in its second act. It could be better. Willow is a particular downer point. I think aside from that, it's got great shot composition. It's got great direction. I like Nic Cage's performance. I think Summer's Isle is good as well. I think it works. I think it's a 6.3.
Wow. You are right. And to be honest, you've convinced me to increase my score. I reckon I'm going to go in for a 5.9.
Yeah.
It is a fun film.
It's fun.
I love
it's
how
good.
arbitrary these ratings we give them are.
Yeah.
It's just whatever feels right.
Well, because they're all arbitrary. You
Yeah.
can't reduce a piece of art to a single number. Imagine if we did that with paintings. Imagine if people there was an IMDb but for paintings, and then
true.
the Mona Lisa has an 8.7, and you'd be like, "What the fuck are we
That's
doing?"
so true.
That's crazy.
Nothing's got a 10 out of 10.
We do that with beautiful architecture. Oh, the Eiffel Tower is a fucking 9.6, but the fucking Hagia Sophia is a 6.3. Oh, underrated. Come on.
It is weird that we do it to films so much.
It's crazy. It's fully batshit. It doesn't make any sense.
True. Well, guys, did you know we're on social media? We're on Twitter at RateDescendPod. We're on TikTok at Rating Descending, or you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com.
And you can also find us on my personal socials on Twitter and Instagram at Michelle.St. Also, check out No Ordinary Love, the web series, on YouTube at No Ordinary Love. Also, check out Unerased on Instagram at -18youth or TikTok at unerased.tv. Also, the trailer has now been released for another web series I worked on, Shippers. You can find the trailer for it on YouTube at Shippers Series, I think, or it's just called Shippers. Anyway, it's on there. Go check it out.
And we're also on YouTube now. You can find us at Rating Descending on YouTube. Very exciting.
Yeah, and also, after you've done all of that, please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. It really makes a difference.
Well, Michelle, that was the 2006 remake of The Wicker Man. What are we watching next week?
Next week, we're watching another remake, which is The Fog, and we're going to have a special guest as well.
Woo!
I'm excited.
Woo!
John Carpenter.
Woohoo!
That's the fog. It's coming to get you.
Oh my goodness.
I'm the fog. Here I am. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. Come on, Abby. Come on, Abby. Pew. Come on, Abby. Pew, 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 pew.
Stop it. Let me go.